Yeah. So IO stands for input and output. Many times in our programs, we might need to read data from files. We might need to write data to files. So to read and write to files, we should be knowing the concept of Java IO, input and output. There are dedicated classes in Java which come along with the JRE, I mean pre-installed classes. You can simply make use of them for doing these operations. Okay. Coming to types of files, we can divide files into two types: text files and binary files. Text file is a file which can be accessed using your notepad. So there is a notepad, any text file with the .txt extension, it can be accessed using notepad. And all other files which cannot be accessed using notepad are called as binary files. Examples for binary files are your Excel, your Microsoft Word document, your MP3 files, your video files, your all binary codes, exe files, everything, whatever which cannot be accessed or which cannot be read using a text file or notepad is called as binary file. Okay. See, if a binary file is a computer file, that is not a text file. Image, audio, video, your Excel, your Word document, your PDF file, everything is a binary file. Then so this one I have particularly mentioned. Microsoft Word document is also a binary file, even though it contains text, because it has formatting, images, etc. Right? So this is your Microsoft Word document. So this is one example of Word document. Though it contains text like this, but it can also contain your images, formatting, this color, everything. This coloring and font size. You can increase the font size, decrease the font size. You can give color. You can underline. You can put images like this. This is an image. Okay, I have just took the screenshot and copied the image and pasted it here. So that's why this Word document is also not a text file. It is also a binary file. Okay, so any file which cannot be accessed using notepad is a binary file. Now, why I have categorized files into these two ways? Because the way in which text files are read and written is different from the way in which binary files are read and written. That's why I have categorized whole files into two categories. Now, if I want to deal with any text file, there are dedicated classes in Java to do that. Similarly, if I want to do anything with binary files, there are again a different set of dedicated classes in Java to do that. Okay. Now, in our session today, we are least interested in reading and writing to binary files. We hardly need these things. Most of the times, we might need to write data to text file, or we might need to write data from text files. So in this session, we are going to discuss about the Java IO classes, input output classes, which are used to read data that is present in a text file, also write data to a text file. We are going to ignore them. Okay, just a small information that I need to provide here. How files are stored in computer. See, so this one is a text file. This is a text document, right? This is a text file, but this is a binary file. This is not a text file. This Excel file. Similarly, this PPT also not text file. If I try to open it with a notepad, so let me try to open this with notepad. Open with, where is open? Open with. See, if I try to open an Excel with Notepad, see how the data is displayed? Because this Excel file is not a text file. That's why you cannot read data point in Excel file using Notepad. This is all encrypted data or encoded data, which can only understood by the computer program. It cannot be understood by, it cannot be visualized using Notepad. Okay, now see, whether it is a text file or a binary file, how it is stored in a computer hard disk. First, you know that computer understands only bits 0 1 0 1. Only computer understand only this. Everything that you store or that you execute, whatever that you do on computer, it is first converted into zeros and ones. Okay, only those zeros and ones are understood by your computer's processor or hard drive. Okay, so if I download a file and store it on my computer, let's say from my mobile phone, I am copying images and pasting onto this computer into some folder. So that file is first getting converted into 0 ones. Okay, internally, though you can see it like this, but internally how computer understands it is converted into 0 ones. There is a pattern. There is a way in which every data is converted. Only those ones that is converted to 0 ones, only that could be understood by your computer system. Okay, that process of converting characters to numbers is called as encoding. Okay, now, so this is for storing. If you want to store, anything is first converted into zeros, ones, and then stored onto your computer. This is called as encoding. Now, if you want to see anything, if I want to see image, if I try to open any image file, let's see if there is any picture. Any image. Okay, so this is image. When you open this image, we are actually able to see the image. Here we are not seeing 0 ones. That means when this file is getting stored onto your computer, it is being converted to zeros and ones and stored. But using this photo editor or this, what is this one? This photos. This is a computer program, right? Computer program that is used to view photos present in your hard drive. So what that program does, it then, so you know the file is stored as zeros and ones. It reads those zeros and ones, and then it converts those zeros and ones into actual image. That is the purpose of this computer program. Okay, so to conclude, any file, for example, this image this image, in our example, this image is, in order for it to be stored onto the computer, it is getting converted into zeros and ones. Now, in order for us to view that program, we are making use of this photos program, computer program, which is similar to a notepad, which is similar to a Windows Media Player. Okay, so this is a computer program which is used to read images. What this program do is, it reads zeros and ones, converts that back onto image. Okay, this part of converting zeros and ones back to the actual file, that means actual image, is called as decoding. Okay, encoding is converting your files to numbers or bytes, is called as encoding. Bytes means zeros and ones. encoding, converting numbers back to actual file is called as decoding. Now, no one asks you all these things in your interview questions also. Just keep this in mind. So if there is anything that you want to store on your computer, first that is converted into zeros and ones and so when you want to work on that or when you want to make use of that file again, then there is a corresponding computer program or software which reads those zeros and ones, converts back into corresponding program. For example, if there is any video file, so when we store it onto our hard disk, it is converted into zeros one and stored. But when we play that using Windows Media Player, what this Windows Media Player does, it reads those zeros and ones, convert them back onto actual image, actual video, which we can see. Okay, so this is called as decoding. Now, let us write our computer program, first computer program regarding files. And to create a package called Java IO. So in this example, we are going to create a directory and create a file inside the directory using our Java program. Until now, if you want to create any directory, how did we do that? Simply right click, create a folder. Let's say, let me go to this workspace where this project is present. My training workspace, MK Java training is there. Here, by doing this right click, new folder, test folder. I'm creating this test folder. Okay, but the same thing can be achieved inside this test folder. I'm going to create a new text document whose name is test1. Okay. First, I created a directory. Inside the directory, I have created a text file. For now, this text file is empty. The same thing I am going to do using Java program. There is a way to do that. In Java, there is a class, file class. Using file class, we can create directory, we can create text file. How to do that? Create file, directory file, whose name is directory file. This is file class. I'm creating an object of file class whose name is directory file, dir file. Then constructor, new file. So this constructor, see, there are so many constructors in this file class. This one until this point. File. So constructor has same name as the class name, right? Class is file. Creating object of this file class using this new and constructor. When I try to call the constructor, there are so many constructors here. I need to choose a correct one. I will go for this. So this is constructor overloading. If I take you inside this file class by clicking this control and on this file, see, this file class, this comes along with when you install Java. The file class also comes bundled with your JRE. Okay, this is not a class which is written by me or you. It is packaged along with Java. Java developers, I mean whoever developed Java, they have developed this file class, file.class. This is not file.java. Okay. Here, see, file. It has It implements serializable, comparable. These are all the interfaces. This is again an interface. So many things, like you can just by clicking on that you can go inside. You don't need to worry about all these things. Now there are so many things. See, this is one constructor. This is another constructor. This is another constructor. This is another constructor. So all these constructors are showing up here when I try to call the constructor. All those constructors are shown here. I'll go with this one. Now I would like to create a directory whose name is test directory. Directory 1. Okay. Now I need to, on this object, this dir file object, I need to call a method called make directory. At the end, I will simply print done. Let me execute. If I reload this, if I go here, see this test dir1 got created. Previously it was not there, right? Now it got created. By default, if you just give the name like this, it gets created under directly inside your project directory. MK Java Training is my project directory, right? This test dir1 got created inside this my project directory. Okay. Let me create another directory. Test dir2 is not already there in this folder. If I execute this, see, dir2 got created. So here what we are doing, we are making use of a built-in Java class whose name is file, which is present in this package. Java.io package is there. In that IO package, this file class is there. I have imported this file class. I am just making use of this file class. First, I have created object of this file class. While creating object, I am calling this constructor. To this constructor, I am passing the directory name which I want to create. Then, I am calling this mkdir method on this object. So this, when this line gets executed, then this directory gets created. It doesn't get created in this step. When this line is executed, then the directory is getting created. So this is how you create a directory. Now
where did you get this directory from?
Sorry?
Where did you get this method from?
Make dir.
Yeah.
That's what this file class has. This make dir method. If you go inside, so this is file class. This file class has mkdir method. So by creating object of this file class, first I have created object of this file class. Then using that object dot, I'm calling this method.
Okay.
Okay. So when this method is executed, internally all this happens. We are least bothered about these things, how internally it is working. We know that Java is giving me a method called makedir. If I call that makedir, it simply creates me a directory. All that I did is just I just call that method. Okay. Now inside this directory, I would like to create a file now. Again, this is dir file, right? This is I would like to create a text file, right? Text file. This is just a name. You can give any name. New file. I would like to go for this. Parent, I would like to give this directory. I mean, inside which directory I need to create this file. Test inside test dir1. Okay. Test dir11, let's say, or I'll delete these two things. Okay. I'm again creating this directory. File class, create a directory. Now create a file. Okay, let me not link this with this. Okay, I'll create separate class so that you don't get confused. I'll rename it to directory. This directory example, I would like to create another class. Let's name it to text file example. Here also, I make use of file class, which is given by Java. File text file equal to new file. I would like to name this file as test1.txt. We need to import this file, which is present in java.io package. It got imported. Then text file dot. There is a create new file method is there. Text file got created. Here it is asking me to do something. Let me do this, add throws declaration. Next session we are going to discuss about exception handling. At that time I'll explain you what it is. If I execute this, see there is no test1.txt in this folder already. This MK Java training. There is no this file test1.txt. If I execute this, then it gets created. See, test1.txt is it. This one got created. So simple, 2 lines of code needed to create a text file. Simple, 2 lines of code needed to create a directory.
Are 2 lines of code different separate class?
I just don't want to confuse you. Okay. Now, if you know when I am just creating a text file, and I am not telling where to create this text file. If I don't tell where to create this text file, by default it creates under the project directory. Now, if I want to create this folder inside some other directory, there is a way to do that. Create text file inside a particular directory. How to do that? Just you need to again create object. This time I'll give text file 1, new file. Here to this constructor, instead of using this single parameter constructor, I will use another constructor. This third constructor. This here it is taking 2 parameters. File parent, comma string child. So parent, I can give the directory where I want to create. I want to create it inside this one, right? Test dir1. Let me rename it to
Yes.
now. If I execute this line, create new file, what it does, I'm executing this on this object, right? So while creating this object, I'm using a 2 parameters constructor, to which first parameter is the directory where you want to create this file, and second parameter is the file you want to create inside this directory. Now when this line gets executed, this file gets created under this create directory. Okay, test dir1. It's already there.
That one is you are executed, that one?
Test dir1 I have created. Okay, I have deleted. Okay. So now it is showing error because this test dir1 is not here. Not here.
Around that program, right?
Okay. If I run this first, now test dir1 got created, but there is nothing inside. If I execute this, okay, see, this one got created. Okay. So now we have seen 2 ways where using this constructor, we are just passing the file name which needs to be created, text file name, which gets created by default under project's root directory. That is test1.txt. If I use the second constructor with 2 parameters, this file goes and gets created inside this directory. Okay, these are the 2 examples. How to create a directory, how to create a file. Now you know how to create this. And there are many other methods which can be executed on this object, file object. Suppose let's say this text file1 dot. If you see, these are all the methods present in this text, this file class. So that's why on that object, when I do this dot, it is giving me all the methods present there. I would like to execute this method, get absolute path. Let's see what it returns. It should give me the complete path of this file. See, this text file1 dot get absolute path has returned me this whole path. It is giving the absolute path of this file. This is inside C, my training workspace, MK Java training, test dir1, test1.txt. Similarly, there are many other methods which you can make use based on your needs. This is one method. Okay, so this is about a simple file class. You can create directory, you can create files, and you can make use of many other methods which are already there. One of such is this. Okay, let's jump to. We are done with this. Okay, similarly it gives get name. Okay, SIS4 text file1 dot. Name is test inside dir1.txt, right? So when I call this method on this object, it is returning me the name of the file. This is about file class. Next. Now, before going to this slide, let's see examples first. Okay. As I already told you, there are two types of files: text files and binary files. As I told you, there are dedicated classes to read and write to text files. Similarly, there are dedicated classes to read and write to binary files. If we categorize these types, we can categorize them into four ways. One is classes used to read character files, that means text files. Classes used to write to text files. Similarly, classes used to read from binary files. Classes used to write to binary files. As I told you, we are least worried about binary files that are byte based. We are only interested in these two. Okay. First, I am going to explain this. Okay. For the same four categories, I have listed out the classes given by Java to do that operation. To do this character-based output, that means to write to text files, there is a class called printWriter. To read from text files, there is a class called BufferReader. We are going to see these two examples. We are not interested in these two. First, I am going to give you an example of a printWriter. In package Java IO, text file IO. I'll name it to text file IO package. Inside this package, I'll create a class called write to text file. Java provides multiple classes to write to text files. Out of all the classes, printWriter is the most advanced class. This example explains you how to make use of printWriter class. Now, printWriter class is already there in Java, given by Java. When you install Java, that comes bundled with your JRE. And just making use of that class, printWriter. Creating object. I'll name that to writer object. New printWriter. I need to call the constructor. When I do this control space after typing that constructor name, see, there are so many constructors. One constructor takes okay, the one constructor takes just a file a single parameter of type file. Another one takes a parameter of type output stream class. Another one takes string file name. Another takes writer out. There are multiple constructors. I would like to go with this one, string file name. Okay. So we have created a file, right? This one. This file, I would like to write something. Okay. So here I need to give the path of that file. That path is present in testdir1. Then
File means right click keywords here. Okay, the path.
Okay. I have created an object for this print writer class. Name of the object is writer object. I call this constructor. To that constructor, I am passing the actual file to which I need to write. Okay. Now, on that object, I am calling a method called println. Here, I would like to print something. This println method actually writes whatever the value that you give here to the file. Let's say Ankita 10. Writer object dot flush these two are important, these two methods, this flush method and close method. I'll explain the use. Let me execute this program first. Let's see what happens. Okay, execution completed. I'm going inside this, open it. See, it has written Ankita and Pravina to this file. Okay. Dot something print. If I just use print, let's see what happens. Print dot let me execute this. See, if I use println, after printing the value, focus will be changed to next line. Similarly, here also I use println. After printing Pravina, focus is changed to next line. After printing Ramya, here I am not using println. I am just using print. After Ramya is printed, the focus not shifted to next line. Focus is still there on the same line. Again, I am using this print Prashanti. That's why it got printed on the same line.
If you want to make a pipe delimited file, how can you do that?
You can do that simply after everything. Dot print wait, it is a pipe. Shoot. Small.
అర్థమైంది కాన్సెప్ట్ అర్థమైంది అక్కడ పైప్ పెడితే సరిపోతుంది నెక్స్ట్ తిరిగి చేస్తాం
Where is the pipe? Shoot. Okay. If you close and reopen it again. The pipe got printed. So in your program, you can write, you do whatever you want to do. Okay. So I'll just go with println for each of them so that they get printed on the same different line. So many times, like you perform some logic, you calculate some value, and you need to write that value to some text file. How do you do that? You simply use this print writer classes. All the values is Ankita. Now I'm giving this in quotes. These values might have, you might be getting these values from some other source, or you might be reading these values from some other Excel file or some other text file, doing some processing. After doing processing, then you are writing them to some other files. So to write to any text file, you just need to use this print writer class, create object, then call these methods. You can not just the strings, you can pass integer values like this. Similarly, I can pass character value like this. Similarly, I can write a Boolean value like this. Similarly, I can write a double value. Double value 123.34. Okay, so you can write all these values to the file. Okay, this is how a print writer class works. Very simple code, no much fuss. All that you need to do is just use the proper constructor. Here I am giving the path. So see this test directory, dir1, and this file. So if I don't give absolute path, remember absolute path means this whole path. Like this. Okay, either you can give the whole absolute path or just the relative path. Relative path means path with respect to or relative to your present project directory. So if you give path like this without giving the whole absolute path, it will go and check for this directory inside your project directory. MK Java Training is my project directory, right? Inside this, it will go and search for this directory. Inside that directory, it will go and search for this file. Okay? Or if instead of giving this test dir1, if I just give this text file like this, it will go and check for this file directly under my project directory. Okay, this point is very important.
If the folder is outside of the project path,
then you should give your
Complete
absolute path. That is the complete path, like C colon or D. If it is there in D drive, you need to give D colon, like that. Okay, but the best practice is to give this relative path with respect to your current project directory. This is because if this package, this project is imported by you. If you check out this code, if you try to execute on this on your machine, this will get executed without any failure, because it will only check for this directory inside your project directory. But if it is present somewhere in D drive or E drive, in my computer say there is E drive. If I give the whole path, something like E colon and all the complete path. So in my drive there is E drive is there. In my computer there is E drive is there. Inside that E drive there is so and so folder structure. Inside that folder structure file is there. It gets executed successfully. But this code is given to you. If you try to execute the same code on your machine, it gets failed, because your computer may not be having E directory at all. Okay? That's why the best practice is to use a relative path. That means anything that you want to do, any file that you want to create, or any directory if you want to create, make sure you are creating under the current project directory, not outside this directory. That means not inside your D drive, not inside your E drive. You should not use that. Best practice is always to use a directory or file inside your current project directory, so that if the same code is given to anyone, when they execute this, then the code execution will not be failed. Okay, that is about path. So coming back to the sprint writer class, you just need to create this object, just execute, give this print line method and pass the value that you want to write to that file. And at the end, this step is very important. The actual writing of all these values to the file takes place when this line gets executed. It flushes your stream onto your file. Whatever the data that you are giving, it flushes everything onto your file. Or it actually writes, actual writing to the file, writing of these values to the file takes place when this line gets executed. Once that is done, it's always, the object should always be closed, that means the connection to that file. It's as if a pipe to this file gets open. It's like, you can imagine this this file is there, right? From this computer program, Java program, a pipe is open to this file. Through that pipe, all this data is sent. Okay, and that pipe connection has to be closed using this method. Okay, this one is very, very important. This is also equally important. It's always good to close that pipe connection. This is about how to write data to a file using print writer class. Okay, now, new class. This time, I would like to create a class whose name is read from text file. So this example is to write to text file. This example is to read from a file which is already there. Now, you can create any text file. Let's say I'll create any text file in the same directory, new text document. Text file with some text file with some text. Let me copy some data from somewhere and paste. So this is data present in this file. Now I want to write a Java program which reads whatever the data present in the text file. Again, what I need to do, as I have already told you, the best class to write to a text file is printWriter, which we have already discussed, and the best Java class to read data present in text file is BufferedReader. New BufferedReader. Here, there is no constructor which directly accesses the file name like this. This is the file path, right, or file name. But for reader, there is no constructor. There is no constructor or constructor which is having a string parameter. All the 4 constructor, all of them take the reader object. This reader is again a class. Yeah. So this one you simply remember it. Okay. New file reader. Again, I'm creating. To this constructor, I'm passing object of file reader. This file. Line గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సిందే మీరు. Okay. Throws declaration, which I'm going to explain in tomorrow's session. So now I have created a reader object which reads data present in this file. Okay. How to read the data? Reader object dot read line. There is a method called read line which returns a string containing the contents of the line, not including any line termination characters, or null if the end of the stream has been reached. Okay. From the description detail. I'm going to use this. Add throws declaration. So since we know that this read line method is returning a string, just a line. So this read line reads one line at a time present in the file. This is the file, right? So one line at a time gives that value. So I am storing that value into a string variable whose name is let's say str. I'll simply print that value str. See, it is giving me my name is. This line is printing my name is. If I open this file, first line is my name is. When this read line is executed, it read the first line, returned that value. We are storing that value into this str and we are printing that value, then printing done. Now my purpose is to read all the lines present in this file, not just one line. How do I do that? To do that, I need to run a loop. I will run a while loop. While this str not equals to null, I would like to print the value first, then read the next line. Very simple code. Let me execute this. I'll explain you. See, it has printed all the data. How many lines are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines are there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. This whole thing is a single line. If I remove this, edit, format. If I remove this word wrap, so these many lines are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This whole thing is one line. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All the 7 lines got printed here. Let me explain what I am doing here. First, when this line is executed, this first line is returned. My name is returned into the string. Here I am using while loop. You know this readLine method. This readLine method, it returns a line if there is a line. When all the lines are returned, all the lines present in the file are returned. At the end, it will return null. I am making use of this condition. So as long as the value returned is not null, I am simply printing each line, then reading next line. First it is giving me first line, right? Obviously, when it is for the first line, since there is value, this str value is not null. That's why it came inside. It went inside. That line is printed. Then I am calling this read line again on this object. Now what it gives next time, it returns this line. Okay, it goes here. That value is not null. It prints that line. Then it is reading next line. Next line, this one. Again, that value is not null. So it is going inside. It is printing that value. Then reading next line. Next this line. Similarly, next this line. Next this line. Next this line. When this line is printed, at the end, when this line gets executed, this read line returns null. Because we have already reached end of the file, right? After this line, there is nothing. There is nothing after this line. So it returns null. Then, since this string value is null, this loop execution is completed. Then next line is printed. Done. That's why we are reading each line until all the lines are read. Okay. That's using while loop. We read one line at a time present in this file. If there are 1000 lines, this while loop gets executed for 1000 times. Each time it prints that particular line which is being read. Then it reads next line. So this is how we read data present in a file. Okay? Understood? Everyone understood this point?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Simple two classes we have created. One to write data to a file, another one to read data present in a file. Okay?
Yeah.
Any doubts in this so far?
No.
Any confusion? Raji,
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Ravina,
No.
Ramya? Okay. We'll take a 5 minutes break. We'll continue with the next topic after this.
I opened it directly first class.
Class, huh?
Noted just
Okay.